Okay, boys. Nakash. This is one of the great events that we have and experiences we have in the yeshiva when Rabbi Nakash comes, speaks his own students and have him back at home. They do not take the benefit because they take it for granted that they have someone like this teaching them every day. When he comes special, they appreciate his words more. And the words have sometimes much greater effect. Just to understand that you listen good to the speech. He's not here for more than 24 hours. He came 24 hours, and his main stop is over here in the yeshiva to give the Hizzuk to the boys, so we appreciate it very much. We thank him for everything he does, all the Hizzuk, and for all the Klal Yisrael. At the same note, we want to welcome, you either believe in Hashem, you don't believe in Hashem. Yesterday, Nakash, his first cousin, he just called me up out of nowhere. Just like the last guy just thinks the employees said, "Hey, I'm coming to visit you." He lives in Israel, he lives in America, and they just came in the same minute to me, so I don't know what that means, Min Hashamayim, but I'm sure it means something. And his friend Mr. Sack, and Happy Nahad. Thank you.
See if it works. Annual.
Thank you. Thank you. Test.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Rabbi. It's a really big zechut to be here. See all the boys. It's the best part of that's really probably the best place on earth. That's like whoever's here before and after is not normal. But you have to really understand what you're doing here. You could you could be in a place, and it could all be fun, and it could all be great, and good times, and good vibes, and good energy. But if you're not really understanding what you're doing here, what we're supposed to be, you could be, let's say, playing ball, having a great time on the court with the boys. But if you don't realize, like, this is the final game, this is the finals right now, like, it's a different head, different mindset. So it's one thing to be here, but it's another thing to be here and know what you're supposed to be doing here. Rabbi Gifter, there's a big Rabbi Gifter, he passed away, Rosh Yeshiva tells. He was in Yeshiva at 18 years old, he was like you. And on his wall, the famous story, on his wall, there was pictures of all big rabbis, old rabbis, all Gidolim. Big rabbis, Gadol, 80-year-old, 70-year-old, he was 18 years old. Huge rabbis around, pictures on the wall. And there was one empty one empty frame in the middle. And in that empty frame, there was no picture. But there was just a word, few words, 3 words. Why not you? Big, huge people, big rabbis holding up the world with an empty frame. Why not you? To himself, why not you? Why can't that be you? Now, I always had a question on this. One thing you want to you're putting 90-year-olds, you're a 17, 18, 19-year-old boy, you're putting pictures of 90-year-olds around the wall. Why not you? When you're 70, let's say, and you want to be a great 90-year-old, so then put why not you? You're an 18-year-old, you want to put a picture of a 30-year-old, 25-year-old, a great 25-year-old, 30-year-old, why not you? You're an 18-year-old, and you're putting pictures of 80, 90-year-old rabbis, greatest people on earth, and a frame, why not you when you're 18? Okay, hello, it's 70 years away. What's the shot? What does that mean? But if you understand the answer to this question, you understand the answer to life, you understand the answer of what you're doing here this year. Because what you will be when you're 90, who you will be when you're 80 and 90 is all decided when you're 18. What you will be in the future is not what you decide when you're 75 years old. So, you know what? I want to be a sick 90-year-old. Doesn't work that way. When you decide who you're going to be today, that will decide who you're going to be when you're an 80 and 90-year-old guy. What type of person are you going to be? So it makes all the sense in the world for him to have pictures upon his wall of greatest people, many, many years older than him. Why not you? Because that person who I will be decades later is all about what I'm doing today. You know, we have this famous phrase. I know some of the boys might have heard this story. I was in Israel by the Kotel. I landed, I went straight to the Kotel also. So, you know, like I'm sure you guys, there's the people that pray later, the bar mitzvahs, those old the late bar mitzvahs, the chiloni bar mitzvahs, you know what I'm talking about? You guys look nets. You know what I'm talking about, right? So, I had one of these bar mitzvahs. I got there at 10. Not that I prayed there. I prayed earlier. Don't worry. And you have all these guys, Israelis with the chains and the, you know what I'm talking about, our brothers. And there was an Israeli guy who wore a T-shirt that said, "The future is now." Future is now. Now, does that make any? For those that are educated in Brooklyn, does that make any sense? Future is what? Future is now? What's now? Hey, what's now? Now is the present. What's before? Yesterday is what? Tomorrow is?
Future.
The future. So what's now? Future is now? What's now? The present is now. So I was bothered. I don't know why. Some Israeli, those Israeli restaurants that have the words spelled wrong in English. Well, hello, you didn't ask anyone before you put the warning up? You know what I'm talking about or no? So, no. So, spell Borekas, you spell Borekas with a V or whatever. Like, hello, Borekas with a B. So the guy's wearing a T-shirt, future is now. Come on. You didn't ask someone before you got dressed? Come on. Future is not now. Future is tomorrow. And I don't know why I should have made it bother me. Whole day I'm bothered by the shirt. Come on. Can't get dressed. Guy wearing some T-shirt in the hotel. You're not even making sense. Not that I have more important things to think about, but I don't know, I should have stuck this in my brain. I'm like, come on, future is now, future is now. All of a sudden, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It's 100% meant. I wish I had that T-shirt to hang up on the wall. We would hang it up right here. The future is now. What does that mean, the future is now? Because if you want to decide who you're going to be in the future, if you want to decide what you're going to be in the future, do you know when that's decided? When?
Now.
Sick. Now. What you want, that was you?
Yes.
What you want to be in 5, 10, 20, 30 years, the type of father you want to be, the type of husband you want to be, type of Ben Torah you want to be, the Yirat Shamayim you want to have. That's not decided later. What you will be later is decided now. I remember I was talking to a guy at a bad temper. I asked him, I'm just curious, you want to have this, bad midot, you want to have this midot with your wife? No, my wife, I'm going to be different with my wife. That's the famous line that all the boys have. She's different. She's different than my mother. She's different. My wife is different. You want to have your, no, when I get married, I'm not going to have a temper. What do you think? Some miraculous, like magic sparks are going to come under the chuppah and calm you down? If you want to be calm in the future, you have to work on that. You got to work on that now. Ask the guy, he's not doing anything. I go, what do you want to do? I asked my class here, I go, how many boys want their kids to be exactly like they are? Guess how many people raise their hand?
0.
Exactly, 0. 0. How many boys are wearing tzitzit? That time there was no one. How many boys want their sons to wear tzitzit? Everyone. When is that going to happen? When is that future going to happen? If a person's going to waste a year, then all that's going to happen is like the lazy river that we all speak about. Everyone go to the water parks? Separate, of course, huh? Yeah? The water park, ever heard of the lazy river?
Yeah.
The lazy river! You heard of it or no? What's a lazy river? What is it? What's a lazy river? Oh, you chill in the tube. Why is it called a lazy river? Just do zero. The river just brings you around. It moves you. And guess where it brings you? Guess where you end up? Exactly where you started. Without doing one thing. A guy that wants to chill through life, he's on the lazy river. He's going to be exactly the same guy today. Oh, tomorrow I'll be different. Next year I'll be different. 5 years I'll be that guy. Yeah, you'll see. That window's going to shut. You're on the lazy river ride. You're going to be exactly the same. How do I know? Because we have experience with boys. We have 10, 15. The rabbi knows you have the guys that didn't perform year 1 is not going to perform year 8, year 12, year 30. It's not the way. So you have to realize this year in Lev is not just the now. This year is your future. And unless you understand that, you might take the lazy river out. Because we have so many excuses. It's a crazy, I heard this from Rabbi Waxman, last week's parasha, Batiyah. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu was in the river. And Batiyah stretched out her hand. What happened? Everyone know?
She got it.
Any Shana guys know? What, without beards? What? What? It grew. What? You don't look like a Shana guy. Okay. The baby's in the middle of the river. Moshe Rabbeinu's in the middle. And Batya sees the baby. And Batya says, I'm going to go get the baby. And all of a sudden she stretches out her arm. And what happened to her arm? Rashi says, her arm extended, her arm grew. A miraculous event. Question, why did Hashem need to make such a miracle? What could have been a much easier miracle? Let there be a nice breeze, nice wind. Put the baby a little, when the water will go like that, the baby will come closer, by now to pick it up, end of story. It's also a miracle. Hot desert day, breeze, miracle. Miraculous event. Why did Batya's arm have to expand? What type of miracle is this? It must be that Hashem is trying to give us a major lesson here. What's the lesson? Because Batya had every excuse in the book not to get that baby. First of all, her father, Paro, made the decree not to kill all the babies. It's my father, it's my dad. How can I go against my father? Excuse number 1. Number 2, okay, well, even if I save this baby, there's another thousands of babies that are getting killed. What's one baby? What difference does one baby make? Excuse number 2. Number 3, I can't even reach him. I had every excuse in the book. Not to put my hand down. Not to get out of my comfort zone. Not to put the effort. But I didn't listen to those excuses. I went against the tide. I went against my nature. And I stretched my arm. And what happened? My arm grew. And Hashem made that miracle to show you that when you have all the excuses in the book, not to go, not to climb, not to pound, not to commit, you have every excuse in the book. You don't know my family. You don't know my friends. You don't know my nature. You don't know my Yetzirah. I have every excuse not to reach out my arm. Hashem wants to say, when you have every excuse in the book, and you go against your comfort zone, when it's so comfortable not to, and you go every reason not to, and nevertheless you stick out your arm, and you say, I'm committing. I'm getting out of my comfort zone. That's how you grow. Batya's arm grew as a lesson for all of us. That when you go out of your comfort zone, you don't listen to those excuses. That's growth. We have so many excuses why we don't want to grow. We have so many excuses why the ceiling over our head is capped. Why we can't just break through. But a person has to realize those excuses might be good ones. And we're not saying they're not good ones. Some of them are not good ones. Some of them just want to leave the lazy river. Some of them are semi-good ones. Some of them I thought about going. But either way, when you measure all those excuses against Torah Hashem Temimah, What does Torah Hashem Timimah mean? What does Torah Hashem, what does Timimah mean?
Complete.
What? I don't know what you said. Complete. Oh, thank you, Rabbi. Perfection and complete. Perfection. What does perfection mean? What does perfection mean?
No flaws.
Good. Madeline. His father's a lawyer. It's probably a joke. I don't know what it Embarrassing. Huh? Good answer. What you saying? No flaws. You know what perfection means? Not one thing can be changed. Not one iota, not one decimal. Nothing in this world is perfect but Torah. Nothing. Oh, it's great. You had a great trip, sick trip. Nothing would change. I'll change the weather. I'll change this. 5 minutes was a little windy. Something had to be changed. Torah Hashem Timimah means the Torah is perfect. And the more perfection, the more you get close to that perfection, the more perfect you become. That's why when you learn Torah, we just become more perfect. So what is that against all the excuses in the book? It means nothing. You want your arm to grow. You got to stretch out your arm. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be easy to a certain point, and then there's going to be a wall. And your job is, will I break that wall? Will I break that comfort zone? The boys in my class know there's a big sign that says, what does it say? Life begins.
Comfort zone ends.
Good, Joe. Life begins when the comfort zone ends. Your life will begin when your comfort zone ends. That means so long as you're comfortable, so long as you're on that lazy river, and everyone's lazy river is different. So long as you're comfortable, you're not going to be able to grow. Your arm will not stretch. You won't have that siyata d'shmaya. You want to be the future? It's now. You want your arm to grow? It's now. It's not an 18-year-old decision if you decide to go to minyan every morning, or you decide to go to class, or you decide to go to the phone center. It's not an 18-year-old decision. That's a life's decision. That's not a now decision. That's a future decision. And when you realize that the future is now, so how can I be on that lazy river? When I know that my future, what husband I'm going to be, what child I'm going to be, what father am I going to be, what type of eternity I'm going to have, is all based on now. So how can I not stretch out my arm? But when you think now is just now, okay, so we can be on the seesaw. What's a seesaw? Up and down. Up and down. Up and down. Guys on the seesaw their whole life. Up and down, up and down. That's it, I'm done. My arm is stretched. Why? You have a tom-tom waking up in the morning, you know you're going to scream on top of your lungs? My future is?
Now.
Let's practice. My future is?
Now.
Good. You're not in the mood to go to class? What are you going to scream?
My future is now.
I don't want Shana Bet screaming. I want Shana Aleph. Without beards. What? My future is now. My future is now. My future is now. When you had a long lunch, and now it's time for second Seder, and second Seder, by the way, is not 1 out of 3 classes. Second Seder is 3 classes. I'm not saying you should have done that on the get-go, but now we're in January. You're going to say, I'm not down. But guess what? If it's just a now decision, so good. Okay, so skip. Skip 3 times out of 6. But if it's a future decision, my future is now. And what's at stake is Torah Hashem Timimah. Perfection is at stake. My potential is at stake. How can I not put my hand out? How can I not be biased stretching my arm? Because if you look at the people that you know close, if you look at the rabbi, let's say, B'ezrat Hashem, the rabbi should be blessed with Yichud Yamim, should continue with his koach, building and changing Klal Yisrael. Imagine the rabbi didn't know about the future is now. When the rabbis made those hard decisions, we go very way back. I was eating breakfast with my father this morning. should bless him. Long life. And he told me, he goes, you know, Rabbi Lignano, because Rabbi Lignano had to fight a war. He wasn't born in Bnei Brak. And the reason why he has the bracha is because he was born out of community. And he knows the mentality of the boys. But could you imagine when he had to fight the fight, and he thought, okay, it's just a now move. It's just a now commitment. It's the scariest thought in the world. But he didn't know that. He didn't know what it would bring. Did he ever dream? Well, the scariest part of the future is now is because you don't even know what the future could be. You think it's one door. When you make that move, when you say, I'm going to start moving, you have 2 months left in this place. It's not until you go home. And we know it's like training before the season of football. If you don't train well, the game is going to be harder to play. You're going to go back to the jungle in Pesach. If you're not trained and built, it can't be 2 weeks before Purim and then we're in it. And then we go back to the behemoths of the world. It doesn't work. You have to be trained that 2 months, that's it. February, March, that's it, we're done. This is the time that we have to understand. And the scariest part is if you don't know what your future is. You have no idea what doors could open for you. You have no idea, because the way it works is like it's a statement called, Rabbi Diamond told me this concept, it's called success brings success. What does that mean? When you decide that I am going to commit to step one, you have to only look at the step in front of you. That's all you have to look at. What is my next step? Don't look at 10 steps, it gets you overwhelmed. Don't look at 30 steps, it gets you scared. What's my next step? What is my next step right now? What's my next move? Is it my next move to go to Minyan all the time? Is my next move to come to class all the time? If I go to class, my next move is not only in the quantity, but in the quality. What's my next move? And then when you have success in the next move, so you know what happens? So another door opens that brings the next success in a higher level move, and then a higher level move, and then a higher level move. And that's how you become the giant you're going to be. That one step ahead, when you climb, there's two guys. One guy says, I'm going to step on the first step. One guy says, no, I'm chilling down. Ground zero, I'm not moving. So guess what happens after he takes the first step? He goes on the second step, and the third step, and the fourth step. The guy that never took a step, he's staying there forever. The guy that took a step, he didn't just take one step. He started taking one step, but that step led to another, and another, and another, and another, and another. And then he became the future, just by the now. So a person has to realize that the decisions you make now. Last Pesach, we came on senior trip, I had the zechut of coming to Lev. And I said there that when I was talking to my Marvin, my student and nephew, and we were schmoozing, and last year, the Shalom guys I think remember, I remembered that when I was in Shan Aleph, I also had a Shan Aleph. I went to the schools you went to, and I had a Shan Aleph too. And I remembered that I made goals. Because how are you going to make this year, the next 2 months, Chazak? How's it going to happen? And I remember I made goals for myself. I made goals. It wasn't just in the air. I made real goals. And I told the boys, everyone has to make their goals. And it's crazy, the future is now. It's a scary thing. Because I wrote my goals that I wrote. This was almost 30 years ago. I wrote my goals. Now you look at these goals, it's frightening what would be if I didn't know about the future is now. Who knew what the future could bring? Who knew where I could be? Who knew what the now would bring? And the guy that doesn't act now will never, ever, ever know what his future could be. I'm going to read you some of my this is December, when I was in Europe, exactly. So now we're in January. It was a month ago, exactly where you were sitting. Regular goals. I just want to show how behind I was, to show you that if you didn't make the move, if I didn't make the move, where I would be. If the rabbi didn't make his move. Number one, praying 3 times a day. having kavanah when I pray. I'm gonna be nice to everyone. I guess that was mean, I don't know. Don't look down on anyone. Don't feel like you're on a higher level than some people. Talk and treat and think and know everybody's equal. It's crazy things. I worked on these things. I don't remember I had them. So I guess I was an animal. Then, do everything I can. Some of them were ben adam makom, some of them were adam l'chavero. Do everything I can to please my friends. Don't be selfish. Don't be stubborn. Don't waste the year. I pray to God to help me get into the learning. Wash my hands in Tilat Yadayim in the morning. Say Modani. Say brachot before eating. I was regular no one. Say Birkat Hamazon after eating bread. Wash hands before every meal. Learn bracha achrona. Respect my mother and father as much as possible. These are my goals. I had 22 goals. Asher Yatzar. Try to look at the good in every person, not the bad. You want to know, did I ever dream when I wrote these 22 goals in December? Did I ever think that would lead me to standing here in front of you? Never, ever. Did I ever realize that the future was now? And what if I didn't write these goals? What if I didn't accomplish? Who would ever know? My life would be a complete different life, and Baruch Hashem, the lives of many would never be. So you have to understand, the next 2 months, everyone should write their goals. Basic goals. Look how basic I was. And look where it took me. One window to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And with siyata d'shmaya, then your hand starts to grow in an unnatural way. And then you start seeing miracles around you. Because you stuck out your hand, even though I had every excuse in the book not to stick out my hand, but I did. And even though the Rabbi siyata d'shmaya, Hashem should bless him, had every excuse in the book, look what he's doing to the world. And what could you be doing? Who knows what your future will be? Who knows what your future is? Doesn't mean you can open up a yeshiva. Maybe you will. Maybe you're going to be the next Rabbi Yadow's, sidekick. But I don't know. It's coming.
All better than me, but
that's why you are who you are. But even just to be the best father, the best husband, the best, most meaningful life, community leader, big Baal Tzedakah, the best you could be. Where would I be without my now? I wouldn't have a future. So B'ezrat Hashem, every time you make a decision, what are we going to scream on the top of our lungs?
Future is now.
I think I need a little louder.
Future is now.
Do you believe it?
Yeah.
Make your goals. Everyone should go down. 2 months left. Make your goals your LCGs. What's LCGs?
Life-changing goals.
Life-changing goals. Make your LCGs, make your LCDs. What's your LCD?
Decisions.
And B'ezrat Hashem.
question.
Can I do the bracha?
How did you deal with peer pressure?
Oh,
How it's very, very rough.
good question. Everybody hear the Rabbi's question?
Friends is
So the question is, how did you deal with peer pressures? First of all, how many people in the room, you can close your eyes if you're private, but how many people in the room feel like they have peer pressure to grow? Okay.
I'm talking about the opposite.
I know. What? No what?
I'm talking about negative peer pressure.
No, I meant how many people have peer pressure not to go, sorry. Not to go. Yeah, not to go. So a person has to know, I think, that when it comes to the truth, if you don't have the truth in mind, the emet, of what your life is, what life is about, so you're right, everyone could scream and cry and make a whole thing and pressure you, but at the end of the day, you know you're living for something real. When you know the future is at stake, so then, I give this example. Let's say you won the lottery. Is that the Hashem? $1 billion? No? Yes. Is it one more? I can up it. It's just a mashal. So, let's say you have $1 billion. $1 billion in your pocket. So I tell you, listen, there's only one way to get to win the lottery. You know how you win? You have to dress up like a clown, in a clown costume, walk down Ocean Parkway, go to Cafe Renaissance, and in the clown costume, right? And go to the center, play ball with the clown costume, go here, go to Shai Tzion, go here, and you're in your clown costume. But you're not allowed to tell anyone that why you're wearing the clown costume.
They know it's you.
You have $1 billion though in your pocket, a lottery ticket, and you can redeem. Anyone will care to look like a fool for a few minutes? Just how long? I have $1 billion in my pocket. Because you know what? At the end, they're all going to be. They're laughing at me. At the end, I'm going to be laughing at them. When you know what you have is at stake. When you know what you have, the future. You know your whole life, your whole next world, your whole eternity is based on your decisions. I have $1 billion in the pocket. Everyone's laughing at me. Okay, they're pressuring me. I have the truth. Nothing can stop that. Nothing can destroy that. Because at the end, those pressures will only last a very limited amount of time. Once they see you're real, everyone respects you. Everyone will respect you. I remember when I came back from Israel, I also had, a lot of resistance. And I was strong. Baruch Hashem, Hashem gave me siyata, he stretched my arm. And I remember there was one person that was very, very against me, growing. And I'll never forget this. It was my wedding. I married this girl, and he comes up to me, he whispers in my ear, he goes, "You have no idea how proud we are of you." And that's just the way it works. And I have millions of stories of the boys themselves. And just, the peer pressure is good when you have nothing at stake. When you have everything at stake, when you have $1 billion in your pocket, who's going to care about peer pressure?
Another question. I remember once, many years ago, you offered to give an open check.
That was a long time ago.
Is that still?
They know my address, yeah. We said the point when the rabbi remembers, I gave a speech way back, before I got married. The rabbi and I go way back, and I don't know why that speech you remember it. Okay. I said, we're so sure that you'll have no regrets. And just climbing that wall, we're so sure. Just get out of your shell. Just stretch out your arm. Just break that wall. We're so sure. I'm so positive. It's like a promise, even. Because you'll never lose. Hashem, the creator of the whole universe, who created you, gave you the map, gave you the guideline how to be successful. So what, you think he doesn't know the instructions? It's like Steve Jobs didn't know how to learn how to use an iPhone. He's the one that created the iPhone. He knows exactly what it needs to do in order to function properly. So imagine Hashem is the one that created you, created the world, created the universe, and he doesn't know what's good for you, what's going to make you happy, what's going to make you. So we're so sure it's going to work. So we can offer you open check. Fill in the blanks if you have any regrets. If you follow the instructions, follow the manual, for sure it's going to be the hard. It's not even a question. We feel so confident. And at the time, so I'll give you a blank check. If you have any regrets, no problem. That was the speech that I remembered. The future will end with this story, which is a crazy story I spoke about in Brooklyn. And if you have any more questions, if you want to see my goals, if you didn't believe me, we made a few copies. The future is not only about you, but the boys really, the now that the boys, you boys, imagine I told you all you boys could bring Mashiach. All the boys could bring Mashiach. If they just commit. It's a crazy story. I don't know if the Rabbi heard the story. Aaron Cullen passed away. Of Wachvogel, who was the Mashkiach of Lakewood. They were very discouraged. The Gadol Hador passed away, and Mashiach didn't come yet. Rabbi Aaron Cullen passed away, and we thought of Aaron Cullen when he was alive. Mashiach should come. He started the whole Lakewood. If he doesn't come when he's alive, then when is Mashiach going to come? And a lot of the boys got very discouraged. And Rabbi Wachvogel gets up. And he says, I have to tell you something that I didn't want to say when Aaron Cullen was alive. I thought it was disrespectful, but now that he passed away, I want to say. There was a huge Talmid Chacham that had a dream. And the dream was, he didn't say who the rabbi was, but it was one big gadol. And the dream was that Mashiach was sleeping on the couch. And in walks in the Chatam Sofer, who's one of the biggest rabbis of the world. And he tries to wake up Mashiach. And Mashiach doesn't wake up. Then Rabbi Aaron Kotler, who started Lakewood Yeshiva, walks in the room when Mashiach was sleeping on the couch. And Rabbi Aaron Kotler starts to wake up, pushing Mashiach, trying to wake up Mashiach. And Mashiach doesn't wake up.
It happens over here for Sharit sometimes.
And then a boy with a baseball cap walks in the room and starts to push Mashiach and tries to wake him up, and Mashiach wakes up, gets up, and walks to the boy with the baseball cap. The boys with the baseball cap, that's our generation, that's you. Mashiach is waiting for you. So the future is now. It's not only about you, it's not only about your family. But B'ezrat Hashem, the whole Klal Yisrael, those are the boys, the Mashiach is coming for us. So B'ezrat Hashem, make your goals, scream on the top of your lungs. Whenever you have that decision to make and you're feeling a little knocked down, you're screaming, it's not a now decision, it's a future decision. And B'ezrat Hashem, we'll all celebrate together in Yerushalayim with Mashiach. Tzidkeinu, amen.
I'm not saying.